Imagine finding an old video you filmed as a child and realizing it holds the truth behind your troubled marriage. What if the secret ruining Pari's life today is something her younger self accidentally recorded years ago? Discover the full story in this recap.
Like, comment, subscribe to Recapss Horror.
The movie opens with a woman named Ismet giving water to her bedridden sister, Naeem. Moments later, she begins shaking her and screaming her name, desperately pleading, "Don't leave me." We then learn that Naeem has died, and Ismet is washing her body, whispering, "I will sacrifice for you." After this, Naeem's burial takes place, and her daughter, Peri, is also present. Next, we are shown Peri's wedding celebration filled with singing and dancing. After a while, the groom, Hiva, enters the room, lifts her veil, gently kisses her forehead, and then the scene abruptly cuts. 2 years later, while cleaning the house, Peri finds her old camcorder in a box. She turns it on and starts recording, talking about how she plans to decorate the place. She goes to the basement to record Hiva, but he takes the camera from her. Peri says it holds her childhood memories and might break, but Hiva asks for a kiss, and she hugs and kisses him. He returns the camera and asks why they left their previous house, telling her to stay away from those things for a while. That night, Peri is looking through an old photo album and becomes very emotional. She asks Hiva if he has found his mother's box, and he replies that he thinks it's in the living room. He tells her to put everything she needs into the box tomorrow and throw away anything she doesn't want. Later, the weather outside suddenly turns bad, causing Peri to wake up, and she hears a strange noise. She goes downstairs and finds her mother's box in a room, and when she opens it, she finds videotapes inside. She picks up one tape, which reads, "The Prophet's Virtue for my mother." Just then, she hears a noise, and when she turns back, she sees that the TV has turned on automatically, and the video from the same tape starts playing on its own. She is astonished to see this, because the tape is still in her hand, so how is it playing on the TV? But before she can understand anything, the TV suddenly turns off. She immediately puts the tape back in the box and is frightened by the ghost of her mother, who disappears in the next moment. The next morning, she tells Hiva that she had a dream about her mom, to which Hiva says she's probably missing her, so they will visit her grave on Friday. Later, while she is cleaning the house, she is startled by Goran, who laughs and says he knew she would get scared. He then asks where Hiva is, and she tells him that he just went to the store. Goran says he actually came so they could go to the store together, and then comments that this house is better than the previous one. He then goes to the toilet, and when he comes out, she tells him to call beforehand the next time he plans to come. When he asks why, she says that Hiva will question why he came when he wasn't at home, and she can't stand that kind of talk. Goran then visits the store, where Hiva asks him why his face looks so tense. Goran asks, what does it mean that when he went to his house, Peri told him not to come because Hiva wouldn't like it? Hiva asks why he went to their house, and Goran clarifies that Peri is like a sister to him, and that Hiva is now his family. But Hiva tells him there is no need for him to go to his house. Meanwhile, Peri goes through the box again and finds her mother's scarf. As she lifts it to her face, the familiar scent hits her, but then, she gently places the scarf back inside the box. She then rushes to the kitchen to turn the gas off, but when she returns to the room, she is horrified to see a group of women standing there, and one of them asks, why did they talk? Just then, Hiva suddenly startles her and asks what's wrong, but she is too stunned to speak. He notices the box and asks why she took out her mother's things. But when she still doesn't respond, he says she will go crazy if she continues like this. Later, she watches a video on her camcorder in which Ismet tells her that she will get her married to her son Goran soon. The video then shows little Peri and Goran playing together. And as Peri continues watching, she suddenly hears whispering echoing around. She ignores it and turns her attention back to the camera, but the whispering happens again, causing her to quickly stop the video. And when she listens carefully, she hears the whispering once more. Confused, she goes downstairs with the camera this time, and as soon as she enters the kitchen, someone suddenly runs out, but the movement gets captured on the camera. She steps out of the kitchen in fear, but there's no one there. The room is empty. But when she turns back, she sees something that leaves her frozen in horror. The next morning, she shows the footage to Hiva, hoping he'll finally understand what she saw. But after watching it, he asks if she's gone crazy. She swears there were people in the room when she filmed it last night, but he points at the screen and says it's just the couch. He tells her to stop using that filthy old camera, claiming it doesn't even work. Later, Goran connects the camcorder to his laptop and plays a tape where Ismet taunts Peri, saying she is getting married soon, and how she'll manage a family if she wakes up this late. Peri tells Goran to take the camera away, and Naeem scolds him for upsetting her daughter. Peri begins to cry, and Naeem gently tells her that she would sacrifice everything for her. Then the video abruptly stops. When Goran tries to play it again, he suddenly hears the same voices from the tape echoing from the kitchen. Confused and uneasy, he walks toward the sound, and to his horror, he sees his mother there, comforting Peri and telling her not to cry. She then suddenly turns her head toward Goran and straightens up, but vanishes the moment he enters the kitchen. He steps out and sees the video playing on the laptop again, but his eyes widen in terror when he sees the tape levitating midair, before suddenly dropping to the floor. Heart pounding, Goran bends down to pick it up and sees his mother on the couch, murmuring strange incantations, when Naeem's ghost slaps him, saying, "She's my daughter." Meanwhile, a man tells Hiva that Farouk is a strange person, and when Hiva asks who he really is, the man explains that Farouk is the imam responsible for washing the dead. He often sits like this, and many people come to him seeking help to undo magic or sorcery. Later, when Hiva returns home, he tries to talk to Peri, but she doesn't even look at him and walks out of the room. That night, while they're asleep, Peri hears a voice whispering that they will wed her tonight. Startled, she sits up and sees Ismet applying henna to her feet. Suddenly, Ismet appears close to her, and Ismet, applying henna, vanishes, followed by Ismet beside her. She turns toward Hiva, only to find Goran lying there instead. And then, several women appear, making her scream in terror. Hiva tries to calm her down, asking what's happening, but Peri breaks down in tears. The next morning, Peri has a new camera and says she hopes this one will shoot better. Hiva asks where she got it, and she replies, "Didn't you say the other one was bad?" He repeats his question, and Peri explains that she asked Goran for it, saying she gave him whatever they had and hoped he could find something for her. Hiva asks why she would involve Goran, and she responds, "You don't believe me?" He then questions why Goran should know what's happening in their house, and whether she's been talking to Goran secretly. Later, Peri visits Goran, who tells her he watched all the videos and that everything was there except the woman praying. He shows her the footage, and when she sees the figure she recorded, she says, "That's it." Goran explains that he nearly went crazy trying to find it, and Peri adds that her husband still doesn't believe her when she says something is in the house. He then examines her cup and tells her there is a black hole in her path, in all her past efforts, and even now, everything she wants to accomplish is blocked by this dark spot. He then points out a figure of a man near the black hole, saying it is Hiwa, looking down at the floor, but behind him, there is a girl. He asks, "Are they trying to have a baby?" Peri closes her eyes, and in a flashback, she is sewing clothes when someone grabs her hand, but she sees no one there. Frightened, she gets up and sees her mother walking down the stairs. Peri follows her into the basement and switches on the light, but the room is empty. She then notices a bag containing several tapes and a piece of paper underneath. When she opens it, she discovers it's a sonography report. Peri starts going up, but she sees Ismet sitting on the machine, and before she can react, Ismet suddenly turns to look at her. Terrified, Peri begins reciting prayers and Ismet disappears. She opens her eyes and asks, "What baby?" To which he replies, "There is a treason in your coffee." She asks, "Is he conscious?" And he responds, "He didn't mean anything." Peri gets horrified to see his mother sitting there, and he asks, "What's going on?" saying she has terrified him. But just then, someone knocks on the door. As he opens the door, Hiva lunges at him in anger, prompting Peri to step in to stop him. But Hiva warns that he will deal with both of them and tells her not to interfere. Peri screams, telling them to let go and warning Hiva that she will kill herself because of him. Goran asks, "What do you think they are doing here?" adding that she is his cousin, and he should be ashamed. Frustrated, Peri snaps. If he had listened to her even a little as a human being, she wouldn't have come here in the first place. Hiva asks Goran why Peri was there, and he explains that they were watching the videos that showed his house was haunted. He shows Hiva the video, and Hiva is shocked to see the figure. Later, Peri watches a video in which she is playing hide-and-seek with Goran in Niam's room. Goran's mother comes there, saying how many times she has told them not to come here to play. Just then, she hears the door opening and quickly disconnects the camera from the TV. She heads for the door, but Hiva enters, his clothes stained with blood, and he walks straight inside. She follows, asking if he fought with Goran, when suddenly the door opens again, and she is stunned to find Hiva standing at the door. Later that night, Goran discovers something written inside the cup. Suddenly, he hears a noise, and when he shines the flashlight in that direction, no one is there, but the moment he switches it off, his mother appears standing there. He strains his eyes and looks again, but she has vanished. Then, suddenly, Niam appears right in front of him, sending a jolt of fear through his body. Meanwhile, Hiva notices that Peri is not in bed. Curious, he goes downstairs in search of her and sees her running toward the kitchen with a camera in hand.
Peri.
Confused, he follows her and calls out,
Peri.
snapping her out of it. He asks, "What's going on here?" But when she doesn't respond, he sighs and walks out of the kitchen. The next morning, he notices that Peri is not in the house, and when he calls her, her phone rings from the table. He rushes to Goran, who tells him to calm down, saying she might have gone to the cemetery. They both visit the cemetery, where Hiva asks the gravedigger if he has seen a woman sitting on a particular grave. The man replies that a woman wearing a scarf came earlier that morning. Hiva shows him a photo of Peri and asks, "Was it her?" And the man replies that the woman had a scarf over her head, so he isn't sure. Meanwhile, Peri visits Ismet in the village and tells her that she dreams of her and her mother every night, and she doesn't know what to do. Ismet asks her to hold a stone tightly in her hand and answer her questions honestly. She also hands her a scarf, instructing her to cover her face with it. She begins by asking, "How old are you?" And Peri replies, 31 years. She then asks, "How old were you when you got married?" And Peri answers, 29 years old. But when asked, "Do you love your husband?" Peri remains silent. Ismet continues, asking, "What did your mother die of?" Again, Peri stays silent and begins to tremble. Ismet then instructs, "If you can hear me, point to the people who are in this room." Peri's trembling suddenly stops, and in a dual tone, she says, "Me, you, and my mom." Ismet asks, "What is your mother doing here?" And the entity possessing Peri begins to laugh, saying, "She is looking at you." She asks, "Are you scared?" Saying you are not afraid of anything. Ismet tells Peri to take the stone out of her hand, but she is unable to open her grip despite many attempts. And when she finally releases it, the stone has turned black. Peri picks up the stone and asks, "What is this?" And Ismet tells her it is the spell placed on her house, and if she doesn't get rid of it, it will ruin her entire life. She instructs Peri to take her home with her when she returns to town. Later, when Peri returns home, they are shocked to see she is not alone. She has brought Ismet with her. Hiva asks why she didn't take her phone when she went out and where she had been, to which Peri says she was at her aunt's house. Ismet heads to the bathroom, and there, tucked behind the flush tank, she discovers a spell. Peri freezes in place, a cold shiver crawling down her spine as her eyes lock onto it. Just then, Hiva and Goran arrive, and Goran leans in closer, asking, "Is this a spell?" He says, "Of course this thing destroys homes." Ismet then begins a ritual to destroy the spell. Carefully, she opens it and places each item into a bowl of water, one by one, while everyone watches in tense silence. Later, while Peri is praying, the television suddenly turns on, startling her, and a video begins to play on it. She watches with tears in her eyes when suddenly, the TV turns off, and Niam's reflection appears on the screen. She looks back and asks what she wants, but her mother disappears. The next day, Peri meets Imam and pulls the spell out of her bag. He asks, how can she not fear God and handle such a dirty thing? To which she explains that she found it in her house last night, and that it has already been neutralized, but she couldn't think of anyone else to ask her questions. She hands it to him and explains that they had been deprived of bread and water, and she had been experiencing a constant headache. Imam asks, "Are you sure this is the cause of your anxiety?" And she replies yes. He then asks whether she is the same as before or if she has improved, and Peri says she has improved psychologically, but still suffers from headaches. Imam calls out to Farouk and hands him the spell to examine. Farouk inspects it, whispers something in Imam's ear, and returns it. Imam then tells Peri that the spell is already invalid, explaining that it was never truly a spell, and that her headache and anxiety have nothing to do with it. Later, Peri sneaks into Goran's house, and when she finds some spells laid out on the table, she realizes that Goran is involved in all of this. She then notices a video paused on the laptop, and when she plays it, she realizes it's footage from her wedding. As the video continues, she is shocked to discover that Goran had secretly cut her hair on that very day. Peri finds a videotape and hesitantly plays it. At first, it seems ordinary. Ismet is washing Niam's lifeless body, but Peri's blood runs cold when the camera captures Ismet pressing a spell into her mother's mouth. Peri suddenly remembers that when Goran came to her house that day, he had gone to the washroom. A flashback reveals that it was Ismet who told Goran to bring Peri's hair so she could destroy her married life. That night, Peri has the gravedigger exhume her mother's grave, and he gives her the spell that Ismet had placed in her mother's mouth. After this, Peri goes straight to Imam, shows him the video, and tells him everything. She explains that she saw her mother everywhere, as if trying to convey a message that there was something in her grave. Imam holds the camera to his ear, listening intently, then sets it down. Peri asks, "What's going on?" But he doesn't answer. Instead, he writes something on a piece of paper, and when she asks, "What is it?" he says, "Afrit." Imam tells Peri that the spell cast on her mother involved the worst kind of jinn. He explains that Afrit are the most vicious, ugliest, and cruelest of all jinn, often called the descendants of the devil. They despise humans deeply and remain attached to a person for the rest of their lives. He continues, saying that when a person is on the verge of death, their mouth and lips grow dry, and Afrit watches the dying person while holding a cup of water. He asks Peri if she has ever seen someone near death looking toward a certain corner of the room. They are looking at the Afrit, waiting for a sip of water from its hands. He tells her that her aunt mentioned the name of an Afrit several times while washing her mother's body, and that when her mother was buried, she was buried with a spell. Peri pulls the spell from her bag and tells him she opened her mother's grave. She hands the spell to him, and after examining it, he reassures her that everything will be fine. He tells her to go home and rest, saying he will study the spell, and, hopefully, they will be able to undo it. Peri thanks him and starts to leave, but she stops and turns, and when Imam looks at her, she asks, "Are you sure you can cancel it?" A chilling smile spreads across her face, and without another word, she leaves. Later that night, Imam hears a sorrowful voice echoing through the house, and when he steps outside to investigate, he sees a woman weeping, whispering, "I will sacrifice for you, Naim. Your grave is so deep, you can't hear my voice." Suddenly, she turns toward him, revealing herself to be Ismet, but Imam snaps awake, finding himself back in his place. When Peri returns home, Hiva asks, "Where have you been?" And she replies, "I was with my mother." His eyes widen in shock, but she only offers an unsettling smile before walking away. Hiva follows her into the basement and asks, "Why are you down here?" But suddenly, there is a knock at the door. Hiva goes upstairs and opens it to find Imam standing there. Peri asks, "What does he want?" But then Farouk arrives as well, and Peri, frightened to see him, holds her head. Imam instructs Hiva to make sure she doesn't fall, and as they guide her inside, Imam tells him to place her on the couch. Imam then sits beside her and asks Hiva to go fetch a blanket. As Hiva leaves, Imam places his hand on Peri's forehead, causing her to wake up, though Peri is visibly frightened by Farouk's presence. Hiva returns and covers her with the blanket, and Imam then instructs him to bring candles and incense. Hiva sets up the camera to record the ritual. As Imam begins reciting the prayers, an unsettling noise echoes from somewhere deep within the house. The three of them rush to investigate, leaving Peri alone in the dimly lit room. Suddenly, she appears sitting motionless on the couch. Then she is seen standing, and then she vanishes into thin air before her body is back on the floor. Hiva grips the camera tightly and follows Imam to the basement. And to their horror, they see some words are being written automatically on a cot. Suddenly, the lights begin to stutter, and a blood-curdling scream pierces from upstairs. They rush upstairs, only to find the room empty, and Farouk is gone as well. Panic grips them as they search desperately, and Imam instructs Hiva to check the corners while he moves silently, chanting prayers. Hiva trembles, following closely, when another scream from Peri makes them dart back toward the basement. But what they see stops his heart. Hiva stops Imam from touching Peri, saying a figure stands near her. Without hesitation, Imam raises his voice in prayer, and the figure vanishes. Then, darkness swallows the room completely, and many jinns appear around Peri. Imam's voice grows louder as he prays. The lights flicker wildly, and the jinns vanish, but the room shakes, as if the walls are alive. Imam covers Peri with a cloth and places his hands on her head, praying out loud. The floor trembles, and a dark, suffocating presence begins consuming her. A deafening scream erupts from the jinn, but Imam continues relentlessly. The jinn screams in agony, twisting as if being torn apart, yet Imam does not stop. Finally, after a long, piercing wail, Peri collapses, unconscious, and the oppressive presence fades into silence. The next day, the police arrive at Goran's house, only to find it empty. He has already run away. They extend their search to his village, looking for both him and his mother. A few months later, Peri is pregnant and nearing the time to give birth. Suddenly, she is struck by severe stomach pains and begins to bleed, and the scene cuts abruptly, leaving her fate and the story shrouded in chilling uncertainty.